Hello y'all, welcome back. I have another makeover video for you. I'm really excited about this one. This is part one of the makeover for my boys' room. As you can see, I've got 3 boys in this room. As I've stated before, if you're new here, we're hoping to do an addition to the house, but for now we do need to fit 3 little boys in this room. And poor Benjamin, my 3-year-old, has just been sleeping on a mattress there. I have kind of a vision for this room. Those boxes in the corner are actually some of the things I already ordered for the room that are sitting there. Now, I take no credit for the overflowing laundry and the disheveled beds. That's all in the boys. But we're going to start by doing what you always have to do in a room makeover, and that is cleaning it out. Removing everything, making a huge mess in your hallway, and that's the beginning of every room makeover, isn't it? Like I said, I have been working on a Pinterest board, I don't know, for like 2 years at this point for what I wanted for this room. And it's definitely kind of like a vintage, a little bit of a vintage vibe, kind of a masculine vintage feel, but something that is obviously still fun and appropriate for little boys. I mean, my oldest is 11, but they're all still little boys to me. I'm excited to show you all the paint color I chose. We're going to be putting shiplap up on these walls. That's kind of the big thing for this room makeover is I decided to do shiplap on the walls because I thought it would look really great with the color that I chose to paint. So first things first, though, I got to take all this stuff apart. My boys have done a number on these bunk beds, so unfortunately I was able to rehome the beds from my daughter's room, but this is not one I'll be able to rehome with these bunk beds. I don't feel that any other children would be safe in them. It might be, not a good idea for me to rehome these bunk beds. The bed situation, you will see as we go on. It'll be in part 2 of this video, what we ended up having to do with the bed situation to fit 3 boys in here and still have a little bit of space. This was probably my favorite part of the whole thing. My husband just said, just open the window and chuck everything out front and I'll pull the truck around and clean it up. And I was like, really? I didn't have to haul everything downstairs. He let me throw everything out the window. It was actually very exciting. And I don't know, kind of one of those things that like, dude, I'm pushing 40 and I was like, felt like I was breaking the rules and doing something my parents would yell at me for. And I'm leaving all of the sweeping and cleaning part in this video. I realize that's not the most exciting part to watch of a room makeover, but I do feel like it's a good reminder that these things require a lot of like elbow grease and not fun things. Sometimes when you watch makeover videos, it's like, I don't know, I feel like you see people move things out. It seems like it takes just a moment. And the next thing you know, snap your fingers and it's done. I think it's like the era of, TikToks and Reels and stuff that make everything look like it happens in an instant. And this is just my friendly reminder that, dude, kids put gnarly things under their beds, behind their beds. Maybe not everybody's, but everybody I know, their kids are messy, kind of gross, dirty at times. And that these projects, much of the time of these projects is spent doing the prep and the cleaning. And at least in my house and most people I know, like that is the reality of most projects. I am measuring all the walls, the spaces here, the windows, all of my measurements for molding, trim, for the shiplap, for curtains, for everything. And then I'm going around and I am taking off the trim around the top and the bottom because we are putting up these shiplap panels. And so we're going to want to obviously put the trim over top of that. It would look not very good to try to match up the top of the shiplap perfectly to the bottom of the trim. I don't know. I suppose if you're really good, you could do it and fix any tiny little errors with caulk. But for us, we wanted to just take off the trim, put up the shiplap, and put up new trim, which ends up causing major problems later. It's kind of funny to watch these things back when I'm doing the voiceovers and be like, oh, honey, you don't even know what's coming. Like here you're thinking, I'm going to score this. I'm going to take off this trim. It's going to be exciting. And boy, oh boy, you don't even know what you're in for. But I don't regret it. It's necessary. It's just like, whew, I didn't even know it was coming. I was so young and full of hope. Look at me, full of hope. All right, I've gotten all of the trim off the top, which just how annoying that they did not actually finish that up there. It is on this side, but not on that side. And then I took the sort of quarter round topper off the top of this molding. We're gonna replace that. I'm gonna leave this board and then we'll put the bead board, or I'm sorry, the shiplap on, and then we'll put a finishing piece over top of that that's different. It was impossible to save what was here, not in the best condition. So we're ready though. We're ready to start hanging. I'm gonna use a combination of liquid nails, I hear a child crying, a combination of liquid nails and a brad nailer to get this shiplap up on the wall. And then I got the paint over here. I'm excited. Oh, I took my measurements for the first outlet box there. So let's do this. All right, time to start cutting. So I know the lengthwise measurement or the height that I need to cut this to. And then I had taken the measurements to cut out the box for the electrical outlet. However, initially I was planning on using my husband's circular saw, and that circular saw scares me. I'm not gonna lie. I've used the table saw. The circular saw scares me. I don't know why exactly, but he was showing me how to use it. And then after showing me, he showed me once, like he did the first one. And then I used the jigsaw to cut out for the electrical outlet. You'll see that in a second. And I ended up feeling like the jigsaw was much easier to use and perfectly suitable for this job. Obviously, some things you need the more precision cut, if you will, the more clean cut that you get from the circular saw. But for me, this was totally good to use the jigsaw. Baby goat Evangeline is giving me all kinds of help. Also trying to nibble on my pants a lot during this, because that's just what baby goats do. But she's precious and cute, and it gives you a little bit of extra visual excitement. Instead of watching me goof around with power tools, you can see a cute baby goat. This first panel, y'all, there was a lot of finessing. Before we put the glue on and everything, we wanted to do like a test run and make sure it fit. We had some nails that were still left up in the top that had to be taken down. It was quite a thing. And these boards are not, I wouldn't say that they're super heavy. They are heavy. They're just really awkward. And so it is kind of hard to do this with just one person. For these larger panels, I would basically go and like cut them, do all the measurements, cut them, and then have my husband help me bring them up and help me hold them so that I was, getting the glue on and putting them in correctly. So it was a bit of a teamwork for this part of it, and I greatly appreciated his help. All right, once we got it up, I don't know, this was my method for sealing it to the wall, trying to help adhere the glue. And okay, by the way, I can see the gap at the top now, and it reminded me to tell y'all, if you live in an older home, I don't know if new homes are bad for this, because we've never had a new home. Our last house was built in the 1980s, which is newer, but it's still not a new home. And this home was built in 1937. So our walls are so crooked. I mean, there is nothing square in this house, and there is not a wall that is straight. Not a wall that is straight. One of the upcoming videos I have is my teen daughter's room makeover, and we redid the flooring in their room. And you want to talk about not straight walls, holy cannoli. And then all of these casings that you see around the doors and the windows also are, everyone is different. They're not standard. So cutting around the sills for the windows and stuff, it was a challenge. All right, day 2. I just got back from the store. I had to go get some more liquid nails. This stuff goes very fast, surprisingly fast. They make bigger tubes, but then I would have to buy the bigger caulking gun thing, and I wanted to go through all that, so I just bought more of these. I also got some different outlet covers, and I tried to get the extenders because I need to be able to push the outlets out from the shiplap, but they did not have any at Lowe's. It appears as though they were completely out. So I will have to make another trip at some point, which is fine because I'm gonna have to get the molding. I just wanna wait to see, because of how jacked up the ceiling and stuff is, I wanna wait to see how thick I need the molding to be, you know? When I'm totally done, I gotta find like the thickest point where the ceiling is messed up, because we're just gonna try to kind of cover that with the molding. So, I'm sore today. I don't feel very good, and I think it's just because my body hurts from lifting, carrying these big things around. I am weak. I need to be exercising more regularly. I am weak. Anyways, let's get to measuring. Let's get to cutting. At this point, I'd lost good judgment, and I was tired of going up and down the stairs for minor little fixes that needed to be made. So I decided to open the windows, bring the jigsaw up here, bring in the shop back, and just deal with the mess. Probably not the best idea, but it was really the point that I was at, was like the desperation of like, I can't keep going up and down the stairs all the way out the front or back door. And this was just easier. So I don't recommend it. Children, don't, do as I say, not as I do, But it worked. It was also incredibly messy. At some point, I did finally finish getting all the shiplap up. And then it was time to go around and patch all of the holes from the brad nailer and caulk all the seams. Oh man, it felt good to be at that point. Okay, day 3. Obviously, as you can see, I did not get to the painting last night. I am finishing up the caulking. Obviously, these crazy windows just made the cutting of this just very difficult, and working with the huge piece versus an individual board that you could just bring one board in and measure, like, you know, draw out the cuts that you need to make to fit around the windowsill. It's much harder when you're working with a huge board. It took longer than I anticipated, but I'm so glad that we did it, and that I did what I really wanted to do in here, which was shiplap. So I've got to add some more caulk. I ran out last night, so I just ran to the store to get some more caulk. I've got to finish this, and I'm gonna let it dry, and then we will come in and start painting. We're gonna start painting. Let me grab the paint. I'm gonna be using my favorite Behr Scuff Defense stain blocking paint. I like to use flat paint. Obviously, flat paint is somewhat of a tenuous choice with so many children, which is why I like to use a flat or matte paint, which is why I like this Scuff Defense, because you can get it as it's a flat paint that's meant to be more durable than your traditional flat paint. Anyways, it's a personal choice. I sound like a Cher from Clues. It's a personal choice that every girl must make for herself. I don't know if you can see that green color. This is Benjamin Moore Peale Green, I believe is what it is called. I looked at a few different green colors, just decided that this one was it. So let's hope I don't regret this, because it is a bold choice, Cotton. It's a bold choice. Children screaming, so I close the door, you know. It's a bold choice, but I'm hoping it's the right one.
I was so worried about this color, you guys. I had another color that was a little bit more muted. I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things. I was really worried about this color, and I absolutely love it. I cannot wait to share with you guys part 2, where we will actually get to like the decorating. I've still got to do the trim paint and obviously another coat of this beautiful Benjamin Moore green color. But we've got many more exciting things to come in this room, and come back for part 2, okay? So I'm very excited. I think y'all are gonna love it. My boys definitely love it, and I'll see y'all again soon.